Hi, welcome back to Healthy with Nicole. I have something interesting I want to talk about with you today. In this video, I'm going to share my story about how I found out I had gallstones and why it was related to the plant-based diet. First of all, I was a vegan for 15 years, and then after that, transitioned to a plant-based diet, which was obviously mostly plants with a little bit of fish or egg involved. And I did that because I was having a lot of health problems as a vegan and it just wasn't working anymore. So I started to move away from that by adding in some animal foods. But unfortunately, I had already done a tremendous amount of damage to my diet, and I had lost my gallbladder because I had gallstones, and the gallstones actually led to a pretty serious case of pancreatitis, which I was hospitalized for. And it's deadly. So most people get pancreatitis from alcohol, and I actually had it from gallstones. And so you can find this out, people that have their gallbladder still. We have the bile, which is actually made by the liver, pumped through your gallbladder, and it's there to help with digestion of fats, sending all that bile through to, aid in the digestive process. But unfortunately, the green foods that I was eating are pretty much the culprit there, that they will bind to the nutrients in your foods and create stones. And so you can get kidney stones, gallstones. These are mainly from oxalates. And so in that process, I didn't know that at the time. And I was eating a ton of greens, raw kale salads, kale smoothies. It would not be unusual for me to drink a whole pitcher in a Vitamix of kale with mangoes and bananas. That was pretty common for me to do on a plant-based diet, and in my raw vegan days especially. So after a couple of years of that, suddenly out of nowhere, during my raw vegan diet, I started having a lot of pain in this area. And I went to the doctor and found out that I did have gallstones. I let them be, tried to continue on with my plant-based diet, thinking it would work itself out. Ultimately, the stones came back, but this time I had so much pain. I went to the doctor and I had already a case of an inflamed pancreas called pancreatitis. Very miserable illness, and it takes a long time to heal from, and then you can die from it. So it's a pretty serious situation. And of course, my doctors were confused. Why would a 40-year-old or close to 40-year-old woman that's not obese and is on a plant-based diet be having gallstones? But unfortunately, it's much more common than we think. And in the vegan world, it is actually very common to have stones. And this is why, we're eating a lot of oxalates in those foods. So that was how I ended up getting gallstones and pancreatitis, which I ultimately had my gallbladder removed. And since then, it has been better. And of course, then I transitioned out of that plant-based diet to a ketogenic diet, and then finally to where I'm at now, which is a carnivore diet. My digestion has been perfect, super happy with it. And I actually don't have any problem with fats, even though I don't have a gallbladder. So that is my experience now. But I think it's important for people to understand that there are risks associated with the plant-based diet. Many more to talk about, but the one that I think is important in this situation is gallstones, and that just because you're not eating meat doesn't mean you're not going to get a gallstone. So anyway, be careful with that. And if you like that video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.